Even while a child sleeps, he grows. He develops as an individual, but he obeys laws of growth which are universal. He comes by his behavior as he comes to wake up spontaneously. He stirs, his eyes open to receive light. His hands are mostly closed, but brain, hands, and eyes are coming into increasing coordination. Behavior patterns are forming. And in the newborn infant, the eyes begin to move as though seeking experience. They roll, but they tend to look in the sidewise direction of the averted head. The month-old infant assumes a well-defined asymmetric posture, the tonic neck reflex posture, a kind of fencing attitude, head to one side, one arm extended, the other flexed toward the shoulder. This behavior pattern, here shown in stop motion, channelizes vision toward the outstretched hand, a reflex attitude so basic that it is already present in the fetal infant born 2 months prematurely. The asymmetric tonic neck posture dominates the action system either in right or left hand versions, for handedness is in the making. At the age of 2 months, the infant's eyes are more mobile. They seek distant light areas, and they may ignore the ring dangled in the near field of vision. The ring moves across the field, but he does not at present pursue it either with eyes or with hands. By the age of 3 months, he shows more visual interest in nearby objects. Spontaneously, he looks at his own hands, an important forward step in the embryology of eye-hand behavior. His eyes now fix upon the dangling ring. They pursue it in the rightward quadrant to the midline. But the right tonic orientation prevents them from following through. At about 4 months, however, both head and hands begin to prefer the midplane. Asymmetric postures give way to symmetric postures. The eyes now converge and fasten upon the dangling ring at midpoint. At about 5 months, the eyes pursue the dangling ring with greater competence, both rightward and leftward. The hands now close in upon the ring. Primitive prehension has been achieved. The eyes are pathfinders. The infant takes hold of the world with his eyes long before he takes hold with his hands. A 1-inch cube reveals his eye-hand coordination at the age of 4 months. He moves his eyes selectively. He looks from cube to hand, and then back again from hand to cube. His eyes fasten upon the test object, and they maintain a firm grasp. The hands are activated even though they cannot as yet obey precisely. It is again evident that the eyes have a top priority in the scheme of development. He can reach with his eyes, but not with his hands. 2 months later, at 24 weeks of age, he can reach with his hands. He contacts the cube with a precarious palmar grasp. He fumbles, but vision and touch are coming into correlation. At 7 months of age, prehension is much less crude. The fingers close upon the cube with decision. A new and most significant pattern of behavior emerges spontaneously. Transfer from hand to hand. The infant transfers the cube from one hand to the other and retransfers. The 9-month-old infant reaches on sight with dispatch. His grasp is more delicate, more digital. Vertical banging is replaced by horizontal rubbing. Exploitively, he brings two cubes into productive combination. Visual grasp, manual grasp, and manipulation mature in close interaction. There is increasing refinement of eye-hand coordination. The hand of the young infant remains fisted for weeks, lacking cortical control. The eyes, however, are alert and take hold early, while manual grasp is still primitive and paw-like. Here in stop motion, the middle fingers crudely grip the cube. At a later stage, the forefinger and thumb come into play with ever-increasing dexterity. By the end of the first year, the infant grasps with fingertips, opposing thumb to forefinger and forefinger to thumb. By 18 months, he exhibits almost adult skill. He can release a cube at will with purpose and intent, maturing cortical control. He places one block upon another, evidence of his growing mastery of spatial relationships. At 18 months, he commands the vertical dimension. He builds a tower. By 2 years of age, he favors the horizontal dimension. He builds a wall. By 3 years, a bridge, combining the vertical and horizontal. Command of the oblique must wait. There is a geometry of growth in the conquest of space. Compared with the cube, the tiny pellet requires refinement of eye and hand coordination. It's a small pellet, but it stirs the whole being of this 4-month-old infant. He picks up the pellet with his eyes and does not relax his attention. He glances at his hands, but he cannot bring them under control. It will take a half year of growth before he can pick up the test pellet with fingers as neatly as he now does with his eyes. At about 7 months, he makes a direct approach, all fingers outspread. He rakes and he contacts, but he cannot grasp the pellet. At about 10 months, the maturing nervous system prompts him to probe with index finger, a refinement which leads toward precise prehension. Thumb and index come into increasing opposition. In due course, he plucks the pellet with pincer grasp and completes the pattern hand to mouth. Reciprocal interweaving, symbolized by this moving light, is the growth process which brings into working balance the vast and dual networks of central and autonomic nervous systems. The human organism is built on a bilateral basis: two hemispheres of the brain, two eyes, two arms, two legs. This duality demands that each side be structurally and functionally interwoven with its paired opposite. Growth, therefore, does not advance in a straight line. It shuttles back and forth, now accenting the right hemisphere, now the left. The tonic neck reflex at one age, the symmetrotonic reflex later. Extension dominant at one age, flexion dominant at another. Grasp and then release. Monocular fixation at one age, binocular fixation at another. The central nervous system interweaves its dualities progressively. The organizing process follows an ascending path of maturation to create an integrated organism, a total action system symbolized by this spiral. The principle of reciprocal interweaving pervades the entire embryology of behavior. The newborn infant, prone and helpless, can be visualized against the background of many interwoven growth spirals. Stage by stage, he brings flexors and extensors into reciprocal relationship. He crawls, he creeps, and in his own time he rises to the upright. He toddles, walks, steps forth, a biped. The newborn infant wages a contest with gravity. In a short year, he retraces in telescope time the evolutionary ascent of man. This upward striving has one developmental goal: the release of eyes and hands for higher uses. At about 10 months of age, the creeping infant is under an irresistible urge to pull himself to his feet. In due course, he casts off his mooring and strides the earth, a potential maker and user of tools, his eyes and hands emancipated. His hands are now free to wield a crayon. At 18 months, he scribbles. At about 2 years, he executes a vertical stroke. At 2.5 years, a horizontal stroke. At 3 and 4 years, a cross combining vertical and horizontal, and a circle. At 5, a square, and a triangle. Which leads to advanced skills of eye, hand, and brain.